Welcome back to the Pig Trail. It is time for our Hog Hoops report with Kevin McPherson. And Kevin, unfortunately, Arkansas didn't have the chance to play Texas A&M over the weekend, but they did take an 11-point win over Florida. What do you think about that game?
First of all, I think it's always better if you can play Florida,
Yeah.
pick up a quality win
Mhm.
than if you had to miss a game. You would prefer Texas A&M. So if you were going to only play one game last week, you played the right game. In Arkansas, once again, to me, the big word now is resiliency because coming off back-to-back road wins where Arkansas had to scratch out last-second victories,
Yeah.
they built up a 15-point early second-half lead, only for that to evaporate. They trailed late, and once again, they showed the resiliency, closed that game on an impressive 14-2 run to win by 11. But again, I think now the trademark for this team, when I start really looking back over the arc of this consecutive 7-game SEC winning streak, is how much better this team has become in certain aspects and stretches of the game defensively. Because we knew it was a good offensive team. It's gotten better defensively, not across the board, but where it matters to finish games with wins. And I thought what Arkansas did against Florida, holding the Gators to 64 points, doing a great job against Colin Castleton inside. Jalen Williams, the big freshman, did a really good job D'ing him up in the low block, and that was a big key for Arkansas. But also the Razorbacks. Again, when I go back and I look at how they're winning games right now, when you get into a trading punches affair late in games, sometimes how you handle those situations can be the difference in an NCAA tournament season or staying home after your conference tournament. Sometimes it boils down to a few plays and a few games. And right now, Arkansas is dialing up the right combinations and coming up with the right answers to put themselves in great position right now.
Well, as you mentioned, that win over Florida is a quality one. So where does Arkansas stand in the rankings and analytics as well?
Well, that's just it. They broke into the Associated Press top 25 for the first time in 3 years on Monday. They're number 24 in the country entering. We'll see where they land tomorrow. But Arkansas also won its first game in several years, going back 6 years as a ranked team by beating Florida. Those things are important. They're top 25 in the NCAA net. The win over Florida was their second consecutive win against a net top 50 team. They were 0-5 prior to beating Missouri and the Gators. And then when you look at their quad one wins now, they're 4-4 in quad one games. Not so long ago, the lone quad one win was against an Auburn team that's been below 500 in league play all season. It wasn't really truly a quality win. It was a quad one win. But Arkansas has now beefed up that postseason resume. It looks really good. And they're tied for second place in the SEC with an outside shot, finding a way to maybe get into a tie with an Alabama or even potentially winning it outright. It's probably a long shot, but they get the Tide at Bud Walton Arena this Wednesday in a matchup of two ranked SEC teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about that matchup. We've got Bama first and then LSU. And I mean, Alabama is looking so good this year. I think they've only got one loss on the season. So what do you think about those two games going forward for Arkansas?
Well, I think Arkansas is in a great spot. Alabama has not played quite as well of late as they were when they were on the roll and demolished Arkansas by 31 points in Tuscaloosa when Arkansas got off to a slow start in league play. And of course, LSU on Saturday, Arkansas is tied with LSU for second place. So these are two big games. Is Arkansas now, projected by many as a six seed if the season ended today?
Mhm.
They can actually improve on that and again give themselves a chance to lock up a double bye in the SEC tournament to a Friday game, whether that's the one seed, probably more likely they're battling for the second or third seed. Even if they get it to a four seed, they get that double bye. But this is a huge week coming up, Terry. And Arkansas right now, I think, is in great shape to win both of these games. Alabama is maybe not the best matchup when you look at how deep and good their guards are, not only at knocking down threes, they've been a little streaky of late, but they can get to the basket too if you push them and run them off that three line. They can go and finish or get to the free throw line. And now Jordan Bruner, the big man that missed several games, including the first Arkansas game, he's back in the lineup. So this is going to be a big test for Arkansas on Wednesday.
Well, let's talk about two future hogs that I want to bring up. 2021 signees, one for the men, one for the women, and both of them are up for McDonald's All American.
That's right. Jersey Wolfenbarger, the ESPN rates her the number 7 player in the country of 5 stars. She's really, when you start looking at some of these postseason things, she got a nomination for McDonald's All American consideration. I think that's going to be a foregone conclusion that she's going to end up being invited to play in that game and be one of the top 25 players in the country in terms of how McDonald's All American sees it. but she's also one of 5 finalists for the prestigious Naismith High School Girls Player of the Year award. That's also big time. So she's
Yeah.
really racking up the honors. 6'5" combo guard. You mentioned Fort Smith Northside, but she's having an incredible season. That was to be expected, but she's so versatile, and she's really going to be the centerpiece of what Mike Neighbors continues to build. And we've seen what he's done so far at Arkansas. Jersey Wolfenbarger is going to be one of the best players in the country. We've seen what Chelsea Dungy's meant to the program. I think someone like Jersey helps take it to the next level. And then Eric Musselman's Razorbacks, one of their two early signees for the 2021 class, Chance Moore, a 6'5" wing from the McEachern School in Georgia. ESPN ranks him in the top 75 players in the country, a high level 4-star. But he's also been nominated for McDonald's All American Game and All American Team consideration. So, two future Razorbacks, starting just next season, getting some postseason recognition and being honored with at least some consideration for some of the biggest All Star, the biggest All Star game that's out there, McDonald's All American Game.
Yeah, so the future looking good for both the men and women's basketball teams. But Kevin, thanks so much for your time. That's going to do it for our Hog Hoops report. We'll be back with more on the Pig Trail.